Okay, today what I'm gonna attempt to do is I'm going to I went to on Google and I did a Google search and I got Greyhound emblems uh, that was on the buses, and I'm going to make a for our sign. I'm going to attempt to make uh, on the plexiglass. So I'm going to sketch this with my overhead, and I went and got some transparent paper, put it in a printer, copied it from Google to my one of my programs on my PC. Then I copied and pasted it to that, and then I printed it on my printer with transparent paper, and then I put it on the overhead projector, and I'm going to draw it, and then I'm going to stencil it, and I'm going to put it on the plexiglass. So it's going to be quite a process. So you'll see about that, and I'm going to just start sketching it a little bit here, and see how successful I can be here. This says it's backwards, so when you put it on the when you stencil this, you outline it, then you can put it on the plexiglass, and then I'm going to engrave it on the plexiglass. So here I'm going to try to do it. I'm just going to outline him. I'm not going to do like I used to do in when I was a tattoo artist. We used to draw stencils close as we can get to it, and then I put the details in it later. And any part of the shading that goes on, it just kind of gives me the idea of the way the dog is. Is of the leg here. I like that. These muscles, shadings. You get kind of guideline shading like this. Yeah, that's good. That leg. This leg. Tail. I like that. Good. So. Bring up part of it. A little harder. Moving forward. Just tracing right now, see that? It'll take me a few minutes here. I'm gonna draw 6 on it. We're gonna get a all around. No, we're gonna get a core. Core. Yeah, I can find it. Once you guys can find it. Core. Right here. Oh. I think it's on the I don't know. I can find the core. Where he said was. I text him. Look at that. I'm here. I can find something. Okay, so I'm gonna shading. You know, I'm going to do details on this. They go up here in my wall. Kind of like that. This is it. This one's very clear in here. So let me see here. It's supposed to be an E. This. Something like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and straighten up all the lettering so it's more closer to that lettering and the dog. So I'm going to take a straight edge. I'm going to make everything real straight all along here, just like this one is. See how that is there? It's all straight. So that's how I'm going to do that, and I will come back when I'm finished. You'll see. All right. I also cleaned this sign up, and my dad put a Good Sam sticker on the back. I'm going to take the heat gun and see if I can heat that up and get that off. And I cleaned this all up. This is where I'm going to put that Greyhound, right where the dragon is. So I'm going to have to get that old paint off of there. And I'm going to engrave that Greyhound on the back of here. So I'll probably put the Greyhound on this side and put it on backwards, so when it shows up on this side, it will be front ways. So that's how it's going to go. Anyway, so it'll be on backwards. Be backwards on this side. The Greyhound and everything will be the right direction. So this will be backwards, and when you flip it over, it'll go the right direction. So I'm going to take the heat gun and get that off of there. And I'm going to scrape it off there. So I'm going to turn this heat gun on. Kind of sad. My dad put this on there and I'm taking it off. You know, when Dad bought the bus, there was no guy. You know, I remember kind of where we went and got it, but Dad wanted that 37 Ford pickup of mine. And I had to give it up. Okay, there's the dragon. It was the dragon. It's all gone. And so I'm going to use the scratchy side to put the Greyhound on. All right, good night. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna sketch this up. I cleaned the sign up. Now I got this to do. And I'm going to make these letters the best I can. See, like this, you can see that all that. Okay, I've been sketching this Greyhound for my sign. I cleaned this all up, and I'm going to use a stencil that we used in the tattoo shops when we would do a tattoo on someone, and it's a transfer paper. And so what we do is we would draw a tattoo up like this, and then we would put the stencil, and I would draw on the back, or put the dog on, say, the stencil paper, and then I'd draw the outline, and then I'd transfer it to the skin. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to transfer this drawing on the back of the plexiglass, and then I'm going to engrave it. And so that's going to be quite a process, and I don't know if it's going to turn out, but we will see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a stencil copy, and here's what the stencil paper looks like. Like I said before, we used to do that at the tattoo shop, and gotta make sure you have it on the right side, which is the dull side, and then you put this on here, and you do the best you can by kind of like the same thing we did the other day. I could probably do it freehand, but then you make a mark, and it makes a mark here like that. And then we're going to put this, they call it as a, I think it's called great stuff or something like that, stencil stuff. And you put it down on the surface, and you don't want to get it completely soaked or anything like that, because then you want this to transfer to there and stay on there. So we'll see if it'll work, and we'll go from there. So we got a long way to go here. Make sure I get good. This way. I'll use it freehand. A little quicker. I'm gonna start to engrave the other side. It's gonna be perfect. Like I said, I don't know if that works, so we'll see. What I used to do, I did one day, 32 tattoos one day. We had our own tattoo shops, Texas, and we're gonna do some videos on those. Stay tuned. We're gonna be on the YouTube station for our channel, so a lot of the videos we see in tattoo business was gonna be like slideshows, but they're interesting. A lot of girls. There's a lot of interesting stories about why people get tattoos. This one gal came in one time. She's had a birth certificate with some real tiny little feet on it, and they were so small, I just knew in reason that something was wrong, and the whole family came in, and she says, "Can you do these feet on my chest?" And I said, "Yeah." And then she told me the story. The baby was born, stillborn, and it was really sad. We all cried, and it was a lot of the reasons that people get tattoos. So people that, you know, are judgmental about people who get tattoos and why they get tattoos, sometimes they're very sentimental reasons. So there's a lot of reasons people get tattoos. Some good or bad. Most times there's a lot of people who want to do something like that. I met a lot of people, some great artists that showed me how to do tattooing, whole sterilization process,
to the send in source test in California every once a month. Pretty expensive. Cost me about $1 a month to send source test in California, so make sure that my sterilization equipment was working right, kill all the germs. That brings up another point. We had people sign contracts. They did their tattoos, saying they weren't diabetics. They were one gal. She wanted a tongue piercing, and so I had her fill all the paperwork out. And I usually do a kind of an examination of my own, just to see if, check their eyes, make sure they're not all drugged out. And a lot of people, when they're on alcohol or whatever, they tend to bleed more, and so we don't like tattooing or piercing or anything when they're drinking like that, because they bleed. And so I ask people too, if you got low thin blood, or you're a bleeder or whatnot. Anyway, what it brings me to the point of the story is this gal wanted a tongue piercing, so there was a lot of people in line, and so she had to wait. So that we had a little place in the back, had a place where people could relax and watch TV, or they could talk with their friends, whatnot. And when it came her turn, got her up on the table, and I got all the clamps and stuff ready, got her tongue pierced, and she passed out. And I still had the clamp on with the needle sticking through her tongue, and she fell, and I ripped the tongue got ripped. Well, she started bleeding like a stuck pig, and she fell off the table there, but we were on where I had her sitting. And so finally, what ended up doing was I called the paramedics, and I wouldn't let her leave until they gave her a clean bill of health, because I wasn't going to have her sue me for something that was her doing. She lied to me, and she just wanted to get that done. And anyway, I never heard from her again. The paramedics gave her a clean bill of health, then she left. So there's lots of stories about piercings, tattooing, many years of it, and friends of mine are still tattooing in Texas to this day. That was back in 2008 when all this stuff happened. And so I still have all my tattooing equipment. I was in the tattoo here in Oregon. A lot of different in Texas. You can, if you get a license, you get the okay from the health department, as far as your sterilization, how you handle your your equipment, your licensing, all that stuff. You can hire people as long as you say they're okay to tattoo in your shop, and it's your responsibility to make sure they're doing everything right and cleaning the equipment, that they know how to tattoo, not to people up, and that sort of thing. So it's pretty good. We don't have any problems with people. Never had any staph infection or anything like that in my shop. I heard about it, and some other people's shop. People are pretty ruthless in that business. So, line on your walls saying, "No staph infection." I never had that going on in my place, but other people have. And one of our artists he was in Houston during that hurricane. Katrina, I think, I'm not sure which one it was. Anyway, I went down there and got him, get stuff out of his place, and that was pretty sad. Just something everything, like little walls, all kinds of stuff. So I got it done. So there you can see that on the back here, which is going to be the straight way. And let's see, I missed a spot there on the dog's front feet. So it tells you, missed quite a bit. So anyway, it was an interesting life. I did a lot of artwork, which I've done most of my life, is just draw. And I used to draw people, kids, for them, and give it to them as gifts. And never made a nickel when I was doing paintings and stuff like that. And I never made any money like that. But then when I started tattooing, then I started making money, making a lot of money sometimes. Okay, now I gotta get the scissors. I gotta cut around this. Then I gotta center it where I want to on this plexiglass. So cut this out. I want to leave it on here so I can cut the dog out by it without the Greyhound part on there. So I want to see where we're going with it. We'll see what's going to happen here. We'll cut it out. And so now you're going to see how we transferred things to skin, but I'm going to transfer it, like I said, I'm going to do it, see if I can transfer it to this plexiglass. Then I'll have my outline on the plexiglass. These companies that do this, they probably just put it in like a machine and it copies it and then it just does it. And I'm going to have to do it all by hand. So just do about 7 minutes like that. Remember this is backwards here. On the side, you should be able to see it. So, very good. See, I'll try to like this one, that side. I'll try to center the panel there. So we got 3.5 inches there. I'll move it over. About 3 inches. 3.25. So we need 3.8 on each side. So we'll do that over there, that way. Just need 3.8 on this side. And so we're at 3. So we need 3.16. So we'll 3.16 on this side. 3.16 on this side. Now, to get the center. Actually, so I need 3.16. So we'll go 3.16. 3.16. There. Let's make this 3.16 here. 3.16. 3.16. 3.16, and we'll just go straight in. Oh, no, where you're supposed to go. That's great. And so this plexiglass was cut in a, looks like it was cut in a machine because it's pretty dang straight. There's that line. 3/16 on this side. 3/16 on that side. Now, I'll find the center of this piece of plexiglass. Now let's see. So I want to see what the center is here. Looks like it's a little 12 inches. But the frame goes in, so it's about 12 inches. So 6 inches will be center. 6 inches to center. And the plate thing is, that's it there. Well, we'll say 13 1/4 to center is close enough. So 13 1/4 right here. And then we got 6 inches in the middle. So right here, center for that piece. That's all right. Okay, now, that's there, that, there. You know what, actually, make sure these about right. That's pretty good, right there. Now put some stuff on there, hopefully. Put some goo on there, you don't want it to. Put some gloves on and spread that out. Put it on. I'll try this bit, so let's get that transfer. Not too bad, so. I don't know. Hope that was pretty center. I think it was pretty good. Ooh. It's on there. Not good enough to. It's not very dark, but it's on there. Let's go around here, see if I can. Probably what I'll do is take some more it's good enough on there. I'll be able to work with that. I'm going to let that dry. Then I'm going to take some more ink and then outline that again so I don't lose it. But it's on there good enough for right now. So I will let that dry. I'll come back and put some more touches to it, and then I'll start engraving.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.